Barry Rubery was found dead in his home in Iron Acton, close to Bristol. No one has ever been charged with his murder, and the motive for his killing still remains unexplained. Now I'm hoping, through a review of the evidence, my cold case team will be able to throw some new light on this difficult and tragic case. In trying to get to know what sort of person Barry was, I've been able to rely upon the testimony of his children and others who knew him. And it's become clear that he was a hard worker, someone who could look after himself and someone who had no fear of striking a good deal. So was there anything in his life or habits to suggest any motive for the manner in which he met his death? Barry's life appeared normal in the days and hours before his death. However, friends had noticed a change in his demeanour prior to this. In the weeks and days leading up to his murder, it seemed his mood vacillated, it changed. On the Saturday before he was killed, he seemed distracted and worried about something. But by Sunday, he was in the company of family and he seemed in fine form. The following day or so, he told his friend that whatever was bothering him had been resolved.
There was something wrong with Barry the weekend before it happened. I phoned him several times on the Saturday and said, come up for a barbecue, Barry, because that's what we used to do, and have a chat about what we were doing and what we were going to do. And he kept saying, I can't get Sandra on the phone, I'll let you know later, and I kept phoning him during the day, and it didn't happen, and never understood why. But when I saw him on the Tuesday lunchtime, I called in and had a chat because I was moving some stuff out of the apartment, and we sat down and he said, oh, it'll be all right now, I'll be round. So, as if he'd sorted out what the problem was.
So how significant is this problem Barry was sorting out, and which was clearly something which had been playing on his mind? Mike Holt. On the Wednesday evening, Barry was due to attend an inauguration ceremony and a meeting in the lodge in Downend. But before going, he called in to see Steve Isles.
Barry came round in the Land Rover, dressed up to go to the Masons. And he said, oh, Mr. Isles, I can't hang about. I've got your breaker, what I borrowed. Can you get out the back of the Land Rover? Because he had his suit and that on. And he said, it'd be a good night tonight, Mr. Isles. You should be coming with me. And I said, well, I'm busy, Bar. I know I wouldn't have been allowed to go to that one because he said it's somebody's inauguration going through the chair or whatever it is.
And the installation of a new master, which everybody tries to attend wherever possible. And we've been going to that lodge now 10 years and more, once a month, which I in turn go to Chris, and they in turn come to me. It's a circle. Everybody goes to everybody.
He didn't seem worried about anything, just his normal self, really. And that was the last time I seen him.
Another Freemason event had also been the location for the last time Barry would see his daughter.
My dad had invited me to go to a St. George's Day celebrations that the Masons would do, which was a lunch at Wootton-under-Edge. And it was lovely. We had a lovely afternoon. And it was great, absolutely perfect. There was no problems, no nothing. I dropped him back home, I think. Went in for a cup of coffee, left there around 5 o'clock. You know, the last thing he said to me was, it was a great day, we will have to do this again. That's when I said cheerio. And I never spoke to him again after that.
It was at the Masons' Lodge in Downend in Bristol where he spent his last evening. There he dined and chatted with other members, and by all accounts was in good spirits and really enjoyed the night.
His usual mood, we picked him up. He was always waiting for us. Always waiting out just outside the gate. Jumped in the back, no problems, and off he went. And that was it, basically.
Every meeting we had a meal after, and good hospitality, basically. We were in Ken's car. Ken collected me, and then we collected Barry. Went to the meeting, came back about 11:15.
What happened next was brutal, vicious and sustained. Within an hour, Barry Rubery had been savagely murdered, and no one has ever been able to explain the reasons why. Coming up next, we learn of the harrowing aftermath of this disturbing crime and its impact on those who knew him. And my cold case team seeks to uncover new details in a bid to discover who killed Barry Rubery. Barry Rubery was found murdered at his home in Ironacton, close to Bristol. No one has ever been charged with his murder, and his family is still searching for answers about what happened to the popular retiree. I've spent some time trying to get to know the Barry Rubery that so many people speak so fondly about. While I've discovered he had a good eye for business and was involved in some cash dealings like trading in scrap metal, there doesn't appear to be anything in his life which could have led to his murder. Why would anybody want to kill this very popular family man? Could he have inadvertently caused offence, or was he involved in a financial dispute? Is the answer to this terrible crime centred on his business dealings? Having attended a Masonic function at Down End, about 15 minutes from his house, Barry was dropped home on the night he died by his friends. It was at 10:45 p.m. when his good friends dropped him off at this gate. His close pal Chris commented that it was unusual to see the property in almost complete darkness. It would be the last time that they'd see him alive.
We drove past the house and turned round in the entrance to the yard, so that was why I looked at the house and sort of thought it was very dark compared to what it usually looked like when somebody was there, and that was all that I noticed out of the ordinary. Dropped Barry off and waved out, and that was it, basically.
Ordinarily, friends would normally go in and have a drink at the end of the evening, but they didn't on that particular evening.
It was this that would seal Barry's fate.
We didn't see him actually go in the house, because he didn't go in the front, he'd walk around the back, look, round by the conservatory, as he called it.
Until he built the room on the back of the house, he'd used the side entrance at the front of the house. But since he'd built that room, which was probably a couple of months, he'd been using the back entrance through the garden.
Always kept on to come in. Can't, Barry, for God's sake, don't, I'd love to went in there. But as you say, I like my driving lessons too much. Never did. Now, you regret not going in. Because they say he was attacked pretty quick after that.
Within 45 minutes of being left here at this gate, the affable, well-built grandfather was the victim of a sustained and violent attack. The next morning, Steve Isles came over to drop something to Barry. What he found was a grisly murder scene.
I walked through the gate, and the first thing I seen was his Masonic case on the floor. I was half tempted to pick it up, but I thought, no, better not, because they get a bit funny about things like that, I think. So I just left it. I thought, thinking to myself now, he must have had a good night last night, being at this inauguration, whatever it was. So I walked through the second gate. As I opened the gate, in front of me, it looked like a load of sick and red stuff, partly covered by the dog's blanket. And I thought, oh dear, he's going to be in a state, he's drunk. And I thought, I'd better go and check on him now, make sure he's all right. So I walked up to the conservatory door, and things are not quite looking right. Before I opened the door, there was like a load of blue wire, a length of blue wire coming through, and there was a shoe over by the hedge. I thought, something's not right here. And I opened the door, and then I found him, just beaten to death.